and if you just joined, this is still Enterprise Weekend, reaching you from Enterprise Television. Let's get to our conversation for today. Nigerian activist Omoyele Sowore strongly denounces President Bola Tinubu's administration, claiming it has accelerated the destruction of Nigeria's democracy, institutions, and economy. He argues that democracy in Nigeria is now an illusion and that citizens are losing faith in elections, especially with talks of compulsory voting. Sowore dismisses the opposition as transactional and lacking true ideology, refusing to align with parties like Labour or figures like Peter Obi or Atiku Abubakar. He emphasizes the need for rebellion and grassroots movement over electoral processes, insisting the 2027 election is already rigged in advance. Sowore also defends his activism, stating that real change comes through persistent radical efforts, not compromised politics. And still in another story, we'll be talking about what's happening in Akwa Ibom State as regards the defection move of Pastor Umo, the executive governor of Akwa Ibom State. And still with us is Emeka Madunagu, and joining us right about now is Ubong Thompson, a journalist, public affairs analyst. Thank you so very much, Ubong, for being here.
Thank you for
Emeka, thank you so very much for giving us the time also. I would love to start with you, Ubong Thompson, especially with regards to Omoyele Sowore. 1992-1993, he was the NANS SUG president, University of Lagos. That was what he was known for. But up until today, many decades after, we still see a Sowore who is still very more into student unionism than playing active politics that would help build Nigeria. Do you think he has not, he's still living in that euphoria of student unionism and has refused to grow?
Mr. Henry, what I'll have to say about Sowore, it's often said you can, use a particular approach and expect, a different result. I think Sowore has been a young man that I grow to admire, but over time, just as you've said, for decades now, still playing the same, using the same approach of politicking or activism and expecting a different result is not going to happen. I would rather, want to see Sowore that will want to, that should have grown up, and migrate into the mainstream, political system in Nigeria. Politics is very deep, as we can find out, with what is happening today. And every committed Nigerians should wake up and show sincere, attitude towards politicking. Anything absent of that, we're not going to get through in politics.
Very true. It's actually very absurd that whenever you see skirmishes here and there, you find Sowore, people have distanced themselves from him, getting him that invitation to come have a friendly discussion. It won't end up friendly. How much is Sowore doing that is becoming overboard?
Yeah, Sowore is my friend. The other time when under Buhari's administration, when he was in detention, after he left, he called me, thanked me that on one TV program that I was advocating for his release. That what has he done? Blah blah blah. I was giving instances where he used the word revolution. That Tinubu also used the word revolution. That some other people use the word revolution. And what is the etymology of revolution? He called me and thanked me very well. He said he was in DSS custody and they were watching me on TV. Thanked me very well. And I've had cause to say that, look, like my brother here said, politics is deep. Nigeria is a combination of 350 ethnic groups. Only God knows how, it happened that 350 ethnic groups were brought together under one umbrella. So what we need to do is to find a way to manage the disparate interests. Because it's not easy. Politics today in Nigeria has become a vocation. It has become a meal ticket for so many people. It has also become a means for people to express solid ideas, of emancipation, of national development. And then some people have also taken a branch off of it, for ethnic and religious jingoism. It is like that. So while, I know, yes, he's talking about, activism, but where I disagree with you, you're talking about rebellion. The tenor situation in the Southeast, even though the governors have been, doing their best in terms of security, but you still have some pockets of, issues with security around even the South. In the North, this morning, I saw a video of some bandits with an anti-aircraft gun, non-recoiling anti-aircraft gun. I remember when Muhammad Buhari was the president, there was one gun, anti-aircraft gun that the Nigerian Air Force paid 20 million naira to bandits and recovered it. So that means those guys have gone to buy another anti-aircraft gun. Now you talk of rebellion, and it happens. How will you manage the fallouts? For Nigeria, for West Africa, for the world? You are still talking of the fallout of the problem in Democratic Republic of Congo. You're still talking of the fallouts from South Sudan. You're still talking of even Sudan itself. You're still talking of, various theaters, Ukraine and the rest of them, theaters of war. Then you are now advocating for a situation that can lead to a fresh war, rebellion. You only know how trouble starts. You don't know where it will lead to. You don't know the dimensions. What we are talking about is this. Let's be pragmatic. I call myself a politician who is not partisan. I'm a politician, but I'm not partisan. I don't belong to any political party. Let's be realistic. If you want to go into politics, you must be pragmatic. You are not going to meet saints in politics. You are not going to meet reverend fathers. We've even seen reverend fathers who were involved in practices for which they were punished by the Catholic Church. So in other words, it still boils down to human beings. What you need to do is to find a common ground. That is what politics entails, a common ground. But if yours is about, okay, you say the 2027 elections have been rigged, without proof, you just believe they'll be rigged because of what we've been seeing. But I want to tell you something. Let's be honest. Let me ask my brother and ask you. Does Tinubu need to write the results of 2027 elections now? All he needs to do is just wait. Before the election, he can roll out billions, right? Get some importers, like what they've done now. You see price of rice has gone down. People don't even know that Tinubu gave money, they gave money so that people will import rice. And then smugglers are also bringing in rice. So the competition is such that rice has now come down to 56,000 naira per bag. But when that rice finishes, we're a large population, 220 million. By the time we swallow all the rice, the money Tinubu gave for importation is finished. Smugglers have run out of money. What will happen? It will start going up again. When in the period where tomatoes, pepper, are usually cheaper. So people say things have gone down. But now by the time we get into July, August, and things start rising. Now look at food price. We don't even know the seasonal patterns of how things operate in this country. Before the election, if Tinubu brings out, let's say, 1 trillion or 2 trillion, wherever you have rice in this world, go and bring it. Wherever you have milk, anything, just bring it. And then start giving to Nigerians. Tinubu won't need to rig any election. Fire and say proved it to us in He said with stomach infrastructure, you can achieve so many things. Why are people running to APC? It's because they are guaranteeing that, you get return ticket, automatic return ticket. Your sins will be forgiven. And this, that, and the other. It's not for any ideology. So let Sowore show us the ideology in his party, the AAC. Let him show us the ideology they're negotiating. Because it cannot be an ideology of violence.
Yeah, because
an ideology of destruction. No.
Yes, very, very true, because he can't be leading a political party while equally stating that the electoral process doesn't mean anything. Wobon Thompson, of course, politics, like you did say, is very deep. And for anyone to climb the ladder of politics, it's like a growth process. You need to start from the very beginning to be able to get to where you want to get to. Nigerians, some people have concluded that Sowore is paid to do most of the things that you see him do, because he seems not to be very serious at what he does. He understands politics to know that for him to get to where he wants to get to, he needs to start from at least local government, get to the House of Reps, get to possibly governor of his state, then begin to aspire to become the president of the country. So do you think that Sowore is paid to do some of the things that you see him do?
Sincerely, Henry, the handwriting is hugely written on the wall.
That he's paid to do some of the things he's doing?
By even international donors, and I can confirm to you, I spoke to one of my partners in Scotland, and she told me she's an ardent supporter of Sowore, that during the time he vowed for presidency, she did everything possible to donate huge sum of money to him for the presidential race. So he knows what is benefiting from what he's doing. That was why I mentioned clearly that we need sincerity of purpose here. Men with sincerity to redeem Nigeria from this quagmire, from the hands of these selfish politicians we have today. Mr. Emeka has rightly spoken about the strategy of Tinubu, and nobody can contend with that. Tinubu, as a master strategist, has rolled out this plan. He has, even before he became president, he had decades to plan on his, ascension into, presidency. And he judiciously planned it through till he captured the presidency. So the second term wouldn't be an issue for him. What I would have expected Sowore to do would have been to roll out what plans does he have on ground, to contend with Tinubu presidency, or to contend with 2027 election, forthcoming election. How has he been able to mobilize the publics, the voters, and the decent, voices around Nigeria to make sure that they capture power from the APC?
Because I do not even think, it's not written anywhere, we've not seen it. As a journalist who does research every day, I can't really tell you that Sowore has commissioned anything in his community, borehole, or has built whatever it is.
No, he does.
One of the couples
he
of
does.
that,
He
and
does.
then he goes beyond that. He goes beyond that. You just spoke about the steps he needs to take, because as a political bigwig in Nigeria, and if you want to vie for a position like the presidency, the cash is very important.
Very, very.
The financial backbone has to be there. So probably you start, like a local government chairman, at least you should be able to have, some sort of finances, to put through, go around, mobilize the public, and see how to, win their votes or their support to you. But in this aspect, Sowore rarely moves outside Lagos or Abuja.
Very true. Very, very true. But let's, in another story, which I did say, let's take a deep dive into Akwa Ibom State, because it's one of the trendiest issue happening right now. Emeka, people have called it fascism by Mussolini, where he is forcing people to do what they don't want to do. Because for him, it's fascism. For you to say, if your lieutenants do not work with you, they should resign. That you have nothing to negotiate with them, like they do not matter.
Yeah, because his political life depends on it. It's not fascism. We like stretching things too much in Nigeria. The man, even the seat he's on is not guaranteed. He's shaking. His godfather, Udom Emmanuel, was invited by EFCC some time ago. And he blamed Akwa Ibom for it. Akwa Ibom is the number 3 man in the country. And Akpabio has a cloud to make him really uncomfortable. So, what he has seen is this. Okay, let me move to APC. At least let this troublesome Akpabio leave me alone. Is it not to move to APC? But by night, I will still be PDP, which is what he has said. Now, he has told his aides, if you don't defect with me, you will resign your position. Of course, it is given now in politics. Somebody gives you an appointment. Didn't you hear of one governor who, when he was governor, his aides used to go and visit his mother to break a goosey seat? Yes, now this thing was known. This thing was known that his aides used to go and visit his mother to break a goosey seat. I don't want to mention his name. It was a known thing. So, you see, I'm not saying it's right, but what I'm saying is this. In politics, you need to leave idealism and face pragmatism. And when the governor gives you an appointment, mark you're occupying that position at his pleasure. Simple thing.
But that doesn't make you a slave, isn't it?
No, then go back to your house. If you want to start defining who is a slave, who is a free man, then please go to your house and sit down. Let those who want to willingly be slaves, let them occupy his position. It's as simple as ABC. Because the man has to also save his own seat. He has to guarantee his political future. Right now, the man is not sure that he's going to get a second term. Because don't forget, there are formidable political actors in Akwa Ibom State who are ready to go to Akpabio, who are ready to go to Tinubu and say, what do you want me to do? I will do it. Just help me, excuse me, to become governor. Remember, before the Edo election, some people in APC went to meet Tinubu and he said, what do you want me to do? They said, give us Edo. He said, you want Edo? Okay, I will give you Edo. Was Tinubu INEC? Was Tinubu the voters? But they know how they did their thing. And Monday Kwebolo became governor. These things are open. So the fact of the matter is that if you now start saying that, no, he should allow his aides to decide. What are you talking about? He didn't tell the House of Assembly, you must move with me. Those ones are elected, they have their own mandate. If they move with him, they know in their constituency. It's just like in Delta State now. All those people who moved with Omoyele and all that, they've refused to collect membership cards of APC in their constituencies. Because they know it's suicidal. Okay, we voted for you and then now you're taking, okay, no problem. Like Fayose told, like Fayose was said to have told a member of a House of Reps one time when he was governor, that every time you come back, you say nothing is happening now. No problem, that next time we will put somebody else there since you have no use to our state. So we just have to be realistic.
Yes, of course. While we're talking about being realistic, the life is actually a very funny one. When Obon Victor Atta was the governor of Akwa Ibom State, then Godswill Akpabio was the commissioner for local government. No one ever knew that a commission, of course, that Pastor Moeno is treating like they don't matter, would one day become the governor. Of course, Akpabio eventually became the governor. So you can't, let down people because they are appointees and all. But I'd love you to speak to, Ubon, I'd love you to speak to the issue where Pastor Moeno raised. Because you can't say a pot is black while you are the kettle yourself. He said that whilst he's leaving the PDP, that he would ensure that no one comes to hijack the PDP. So, as a pastor who knows truth from false, who knows the right thing to do, he says he's a simple man by nature, but he's complicating his issue. If he wants to leave the PDP, why not completely leave the PDP?
Yeah, Mr. Henry, I was taught in one of my courses in defense doctrine. It was an history course that a borrowed course from the history and international studies department. So that the best form of defense is not necessarily, buying guns to give to armies or policemen to mount some certain places, but the innermost, the certain criteria you put in place, that prevents occurrences of intruders entering into your territory is the best form of defense, and that is what the strategy the man is employing.
So his leg is on one side, his other leg is on the other way.
Sure, right from the one, it's on the defensive side.
But that is not. But that is not politically ethical.
It might not be politically ethical, but I've just told you, politics is deep and it goes beyond what we see. It has become a game of interest, and that is what will serve his own interests. And you can see what he's going to do. And then Akwa Ibom has been a state, that has been emotionally attached to PDP since 1999, and they have played PDP party as a religion in Akwa Ibom state, to the greatest surprise. So many of Akwa Ibomites are shocked with the recent notice of defecting to APC by Pastor Governor Omoyele. And then on this studio I did argue against that. What does the governor want that he cannot stay in the PDP and get
Chief, yes.
And the governor too got so kindly clarified that point, that even with a zero party, he will still, can still win an election.
So why would he now want to leave?
But he is now like, coming out with a point that the center, where the PDP, where they swear, the PDP, the
umbrella
that hold the umbrella is no longer, the handle is no longer there to hold. And as a unit of a state, you cannot operate, in an isolation. You need these, national bodies and collective bodies, for you as a state unit to stand and be firm, whether in state politics or national politics. And gone are the days, where factional politics were gaining, headway, and that was in the Southwest. When President Tinubu of then was running AC, and he was able to capture Lagos and probably few states in the Southwest. But that politics is no longer tenable to play in isolation, as a political party, being the remaining PDP states in the South. So it shouldn't do you any good. So the man, as a pastor, has had a foresight and has taken time to reconcile the political differences that Udom Emmanuel and Akpabio had. He had taken time to unite almost every warring faction, in the state, to make sure that everybody comes under one umbrella, because he knew probably there might be incidents, along the line that might warrant him asking for the support of all these people. And the incident has revealed itself as we have it today. So he said going to APC, that not that APC has an ideology as a political party. They don't have. Unlike the PDP and Pastor Moeno's government that has the Arise agenda as the only agenda of the development, blueprint in the state, that anybody can key in any way, which the local government, the council, everyone is keying into that development agenda. So for that reason, he said the PDP at the center can no longer hold. Now we have factional secretary of PDP. Almost 2 factional secretaries in PDP as we speak today.
So that is possibly his reason.
Very much tenable. That happens in Rivers when Amechi, was given the governorship ticket against Omeya. It was the same scenario that happened. So you have 2 PDP, the factional PDP secretaries now. And who's going to sign his nomination form? Okay, if Wike's, faction signs the form, and before you know, the court obtained that, particular incident, and then award the authentic secretary
to someone else. So he
loses
that opportunity.
His nomination.
Now,
and might not be able to stand for election.
Now, Emeka, because the most important thing for an average Akwa Ibomite, they might not understand all of these things. All they're concerned about is their borehole closest to him? What is the doctor to patient ratio closest to him? Is he able to empower himself? The little small business he has, is there enough electricity to run it? That's what the average Akwa Ibomite is concerned about. Don't you think that should be the most important thing for Pastor Omoyele at this point? Because for me, this is lazy man politics. A lazy man quarrels with his tools. PDP is not the problem, you would agree with me.
But I will give you the example of Unoka and Okonkwo in Things Fall Apart. Unoka was said to be lazy, laid back, just easygoing man. But Okonkwo was said to be a warrior, fighter. But Unoka lived long now. Okonkwo committed suicide. What it tells you is this. Every politician wants to take the path of least resistance. Nobody wants to go and sacrifice his political career on the altar of misguided activism. So what my brother has said here is very true. The PDP is divided. But it's not as if the PDP cannot, the Supreme Court has given its own type of judgment, which is still so open to interpretation. But internally, the PDP is still trying to sort out things, and I believe they will sort things out. PDP almost came to extinction in 2015, 2016, but somehow it bounced back again. Sadly, some of the people who participated in keeping the PDP alive are the ones now trying to destroy the PDP. But somehow, see, this is politics. Somehow, the PDP will survive all these shenanigans. Because, like I tell people, it's not possible to have one party state in Nigeria. You know why? Nigerian politicians are not the type to stay under one umbrella. We are not Chinese. Nigerians eat from politics. A lot of us eat from politics one way or the other. So, when the political ambition of one politician is not realized in one platform, it jumps to another one. So all those platforms are there just in case they cannot be met in one. So even within the APC chieftains, I'll give you an example of Rochas Okorocha. Rochas Okorocha, is he not the owner of Action Alliance, AA? There are other people who own parties here and there. But they're in political parties. They're in PDP, they're in APC. Why have they not dumped those parties? So the point is this. What Pastor Omoyele, I'm not supporting defection, because to me, defection is irresponsible politics. You should be able to stay with your platform, and swim with it or sink with it. That is principled politics, But just like what Sowore is doing, you should remember that Ojukwu was defeated in Anambra State, where he comes from. Obasanjo defeated him. You should remember that Gani Fahimi, as much as he did all he did for Nigerians, at the end of the day, the same Nigerians didn't still vote for him. Even though you might say the results were rigged. But if you look at the pattern generally, it wasn't like that. Abiola in 1993, Abiola ordinarily wouldn't have won election. He needed the SDP governors at that time to make it happen. Against the calculation of Babangida, who was the head of state, who wanted his running mate to be Pascal Bafiao, like we heard. But they chose Babangida Kingibe. Pragmatism. So, you see, the main thing is this. Yes, Governor Moina has said that he's moving to APC, but he will remain with PDP. Because, like they say, nobody knows tomorrow, even though some people tell you that tomorrow is Sunday. But you see, in politics, 24 hours is a long time. And Tinubu himself, too, is not joking with his bets. He's hedging his bets by quickly declaring. But certain things came to my mind this morning, which I don't want to say here.
Please do.
That what? No. In the womb of, this thing is a matter of time. But I remember how quickly Jonathan went about, trying to, declare and all of that. When certain interests, certain powers had not cleared him to run. But let's be very factual. Being president of Nigeria is not just about you go and run. There are certain interests beyond Nigeria that determine some of these things. And we saw what they did to Jonathan. Yes, we saw what they did to Jonathan. So it is a fact that, yes, PDP may be shaken. Pastor Omoyele is trying to be balanced, to be sure that he doesn't lose out either way, you know. But to me, well, it's still early days. We are watching. So any of his appointees who is not ready to defect, should go away now and remain in PDP. Find something to do, you know, and hoping that possibly Pastor Omoyele's defection will work against him, and then another person will become governor and remember you for staying steadfast to PDP. After all, there are people who have been in PDP from inception till now, and they will never go anywhere. Yes. So,
all right, I just sincerely hope that this is not a case of from frying pan to fire for Pastor Omoyele. Remember Akanimo Odofia, the APC man he ran with in 2023, is still very much alive and still very much active. And I would love to
know, appointment, oh.
Yes, and I would love to know how he would deal with such person who, of course, Obong Thompson, you understand this very well.
Yeah, you know what
please, in 60 seconds, if you may.
Yeah, the template is running. He is playing with the former, governor, Godswill Akpabio template, who left PDP and joined APC, and is doing very well today. It was the same emotional, blackmail or attachment that Akwa Ibom might had that they are still having today, but many of such people that probably speak ill of the movement, are regretting one way or the other today. So let's see in the positive, the movement, the defecting, notice that the governor has given. Let's see how it will work, for him in the positive.
All right, let's see how that would work for him in the positive. Like I did say, and I would love to say again and again and again, what the average Akwa Ibom might want is food on his table. What he wants is to be able to pay his children's school fee without borrowing from loan apps. What he wants is opportunity to be free. Come out around 3 a.m. in the morning and do not get harassed by anyone. That is, security is guaranteed. What the Akwa Ibomite average man needs is a presence of democracy. He doesn't even care whoever it is, which party they belong to. That is none of his business. What he wants is dividends of democracy, and that is what Nigerians want in its entirety. Thank you so very much, gentlemen, for being here. I truly did enjoy our discussion today. And that's just about the time we have for this weekend. I would love to say thank you to you for making a date. Please do well to follow us if you may. You can always read up on everything we've talked about when you see us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally love to re-watch everything we've done today when you visit us at Enterprise TV 7. I am Henry Igwebike. Thank you for watching, and we see you next week. Bye-bye.